Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're going to go over something called Velocity Banking Super Sunday. Sunday. I don't know if you ever heard of those monster truck rally commercials, but every Sunday I'm just kind of try to at least crank out one video and going to call it something fun with the word Sunday in it. But here in this video, we're going to go over a hypothetical situation with 3 maxed out credit cards and figure out how to pay those off using Velocity Banking. So what I did is I typed in ChatGPT, please come up with the financial scenario of an individual 3 maxed out credit cards, and we got these 3. So credit card A, B, and C, you can see the balance, the percentage rate, and then the minimum payment. And then if you add all of these up, it's $710 of payments in total. And so what I did is I created a spreadsheet, a budget. So what's the first thing we need to do when we do velocity banking is we need to create a budget. So we just assumed that we have a $3,000 paycheck, $2,700 in expenses, right? $290 in savings. And then we have our expense breakdown. So in our expense breakdown, we have to list every single debt that we have, which is just only the 3 credit cards. Now, we don't have access to, let's say, a personal home equity line of credit. Now, the disadvantage of this is that if we use exclusively credit cards, we can't pay one credit card with another credit card, right? So what we're going to have to do is pay off one credit card, use that as a velocity banking account, and once that one goes to 0, then switch to another credit card as your velocity banking account. So that's really the 2 steps. You create the budget, and then select your operating account, your velocity banking account, which is going to be one of these credit cards, and we're going to figure out which order that we're going to pay off these debts. So the way that we figure out how to pay off these debts is we can do it by the interest rate. What's the highest interest rate out of all of them? Which one has the lowest balance? So let me just do payoff criteria. So what we can one of the ways we can figure out which ones to pay off is just a combination of these 3. So highest payment amount, highest payment amount, lowest balance, and highest interest rate, right? So any debt that falls into these 3 categories would probably be our best candidate to pay off. Now, if you're lazy like me, you could just use a simple formula called the cash flow index, right? And all it is just an arbitrary number, and the formula is just the balance divided by the minimum monthly payment. So here it would be $5,000 balance divided by 150, and that's 33.3. So here it would be $8,000 balance divided by 160, and then this one will be 10,000 divided by 400, and that's going to be 25. So what we do is anything that's the lowest number, we're going to pay off first. So we're going to pay off this credit card 3 first, then credit card 1 and credit card 2, right? So it ignores the interest rate. So that's the only disadvantage of that, but it's based on how much cash flow you get compared to the amount that you pay off in the loan. So this is what we're going to do, is that we're going to use this as our main operating account for now, right? So let's go ahead and do this budget. Oh, whoopsie. Yeah. So what we're going to do is just copy most of this stuff right here, right? And then we're going to redo some of how we normally do things. So normally we dump the whole check into the line of credit, but the problem is we can't. There are some things that we have to pay in cash, right? So many places, when you do pay rent, they only take that in cash, right? And the credit cards that we're paying with the minimum monthly payment, we're going to pay that in cash as well. So we have to be careful that we have some cash left in our checking and savings to pay the rent and the other 2 credit cards. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and use credit card 3 as our main velocity banking account. So this is going to be 22% interest. What's the credit limit? The credit limit is 10,000. We're going to say the balance is 10,000, and this is going to be month 0. And so let's calculate how much we're going to dump into the line of credit. Like I said before, in other scenarios, we dump in the whole 3,000, But here it's going to be 3,000 minus whatever is going to checking and savings. So whatever is going to go to checking and savings is the things we're going to pay in cash. So credit card 1, credit card 2, and then rent. So what's going to be 150 plus 160 plus 1000. Okay. And so that's going to be what goes into checking and savings. Now, what are our expenses that we're going to pay from the line of credit? We're going to pay this other food gas into the line of credit. Okay. Now, here's the thing. With this credit card 3, when we use this as a velocity banking account, this actually goes to 0. So anytime you use a certain line of credit as your main operating account, because you're dumping usually all of your entire paycheck, but in this case, most of your entire paycheck into that line of credit, this is going to satisfy the minimum monthly payment and it's going to minimize interest. So for the most part, we consider this to be 0, although there is an interest calculation at after every month that is considered to be a cost of using that line of credit. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see how much our line of the credit deposit is. So it'd be 3,000 minus 1310. So that'll be 1690, right? So 1690 is what's going to be dumped into our line of credit. $1,000 is our line of credit expenses because let me do this here, because this other food, gas, insurance is going to be the only thing really taken from our line of credit. And so now our cash flow is going to be $690, right? So the whole idea is that you're going to dump everything except for the stuff that you have to pay in your checking and savings into the line of credit. And after every month, it's going to go down approximately about $690. So minus 690. Okay, so again, this is an approximation, right? So go down, 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 down. Okay, so let's say this is 0. And then we're going to calculate the interest. Again, we're assuming that this is maxed out, although that's not really the most realistic scenario. I've never had a super maxed out credit card before, although I've always been close to the max, or I've been in situations where I've been close to the max. So to estimate the interest, right, we're going to take the previous month's balance, multiply by 22, and then divide by 12. So the 22% is the annual interest, and the 12 is, when you divide by 12, that gives you the monthly interest. So let's go ahead and add it up. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and calculate how long it's going to take to pay off this first $10,000 credit card, right? So 12, 13, 14, right? And let's go ahead and sum this up. So about 1,421. So that's going to, if we look at our cash flow, this times 2 is approximately going to be about 1,400. And so I would say give it about maybe 2 or 3 more months to pay off the interest. And so here, so 14, 15, 16, let's be a little bit over conservative and say this is going to take 17 months, right? So 17 months. And let's see, 17 months and 1,400 interest, right? So let's just take a look here. So this is going to take at least a little bit more than a year. So 17 divided by 12, yeah, about almost a year and a half, or a little bit less than a year and a half to pay off this $10,000 credit card. And then once we completely paid it off, right, now we move on to the next one. Okay, so we move on to the next one. And so the next one, so what we have to do is just refactor this. So now this is going to be our next operating account for velocity banking. So we put the line of credit information here. So this will be 20%. This will be a $5,000 balance and then $5,000 credit limit. So these should be the same. And this will be month 0. Okay. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to make this 0, right? Because whenever we make our main operating account, one of our credit lines is our main operating account, because we're dumping most of our paycheck in this situation into that line of credit, it satisfies the minimum monthly payment, right? So we don't have to worry about that monthly payment because it's satisfied by dumping our entire paycheck, and we minimize the interest. Okay, so now what we do is we refactor what's going to be cash only as our expenses. So it's going to be the second credit card as well as the rent, because the rent's always going to be there. Okay. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to minus this. Whoopsie. So it'd be, I'm sorry, C4. So now our new cash flow will be C2 minus C4. Okay. So it'll be $680, right? Wait a minute. Something about that seems wrong. Okay. So 3,000 minus C4. Oh, whoopsie. No, I got that wrong. Okay. So our new cash flow, C2 minus C3. Okay. So our new cash flow is $180 because it's going to be based on whatever we deposit in the line of credit and then whatever expenses that we take out. So now what we do is we go here and then we're going to take out the $840 from each subsequent month. So H2 minus 840, and then bam, bam, bam. Oopsie. I always get too excited about this. All right. Bam, bam, bam. All right. Okay, so how many months did this take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And how much interest do we pay? How do we calculate the interest? Well, all it is the previous month's balance, H2, multiplied by the interest rate, 0.2, divided by 12. Okay. And then now let's sum it up. So we pay $290 of interest here, right? And it only took us about 6 months. So if we add another month here, you could say 6 or 7, right? So their cash flow is 840, and so by the time we're at month 6 and we have to pay an extra 290, we can certainly handle it with an extra month. So we'll just say 7 months. Again, all of this is like overestimating, so it might even take less than this, but we're just kind of go through this quickly. So 7 months. And how much in interest is 290 interest, right? And I should probably put a dollar sign in front of it. So 290. Okay. So now we've done that. And let's go here. And so now our last line of credit balance or credit card balance is this 8,000. Now here's the thing. We're definitely overestimating the amount it's going to take off, because as we're making payments to these credit cards, obviously these balances are going to go down. But I want you just to kind of feel comfortable with the idea of how it works and not get so ingrained in the little minute details, because we want an easy way for us to pay off our debts and free up some cash flow and not have to think about it and be incredibly disciplined like certain other ways of paying off debt. Okay, so now we're gonna go pay off credit card number 2. So this is gonna be 0, right? So actually let me put the information here. So this will be 18% interest, $8,000 limit, $8,000 balance, month 0, and what is our new cash flow? So this is going to be 0, right? So this is going to be 0. And our line of credit, our only check thing that we have to put in our checking and savings is this only, right? So yeah, so I think this is it. So now all we have here to deposit in our line of credit is the $2,000, and we just take out $1,000 expenses from that line of credit to pay for our other food, gas, insurance, and the rent we're going to pay in cash, right? So now let's go ahead and figure out how long it's going to take. So again, it's when we start, it's not going to be $8,000, but I'm a little bit too lazy just to do the entire math. Whoopsie, I did this right here. Okay, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and then we'll say it's month 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then equals 18% interest times, oopsie, times $8,000 divided by 12, and then we're gonna. Oh, did I screw up? Yeah, I did. Okay, I'm screwing up a lot today. We H2, and then we have to refer to the previous months. Again, these are all just estimates, but this is an easy way for you to estimate the interest. 540. So 540, and our cash flow is $1,000. So that's just probably an extra month. So we could say 9 months, right? So it's going to take us 9 months to pay this off. So that'll be 9 months and 540 interest. Okay. So so this is where we were before, where every time, because we had maxed out credit cards, after every month we only had 290 in our checking and savings, and we had 3 maxed out credit cards. So if we ever had to go above our 290, we're just kind of sweating profusely, right? And that's not in a good situation to be in. Whereas now, we did velocity banking. We paid this off in, let's see how many months. So that'll be 7, 9, 17. So 7 plus, see, 7 plus 9 plus 17. And then we divide by 12, figure out how many years. So after 2.75 years, we're going to pay all of these 3 credit cards off, and then we're going to have actual cash flow going into our checking and savings. So we're always going to have an extra 1,000 in our checking and savings, which is really great when you don't have any debt. And we'll be able to sleep better at night, right? So again, if you're in a situation where you're paycheck to paycheck, obviously, it's going to be hard, right? We always want to be in a situation where we have more money coming in to pay off our debts quicker. But if we're even paycheck to paycheck, we could find immediate relief after a certain amount of time. And I know that for some of you, you might make a lot of money and be living paycheck to paycheck. It might be really difficult for you, but this may be a help to you if you're finding yourself in a tricky situation and you're living paycheck to paycheck with lots of debt, kind of like right here. And here's the thing, if you don't have any debt and you're wanting to help other people with these velocity banking situations, I would just always suggest, just even asking ChatGPT to come up with some hypothetical financial scenarios to see if you can help out other people, right? This is how I'm able to help out other people, because I always practice mostly the same scenarios. And then I practice the oddball scenario here where it's like, oh, credit cards only. But ideally, you wouldn't have all credit cards, right? You'd have access to a personal or home equity line of credit. And so if you can get a credit card and you have good credit, you might want to, instead of getting a new credit card, ask around for a personal line of credit. Again, not financial advice. I'm just giving this information for only informational purposes, but it might something that you might consider. Okay, so now what did we go over for today? Well, we asked ChatGPT for, GPT for a scenario of going of a person who lives paycheck to paycheck and has 3 maxed out credit cards. Now, the average American, at least 50% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and they probably have a scenario that's similar to this, right? So again, go through the scenario yourself, try doing the spreadsheet yourself, and see if this makes sense. We're probably actually going to pay this off less because, again, we're overestimating the interest and we're overestimating the amounts that we're going to pay, because as we pay off those credit cards, they're going to chip off the balance little by little after 17 months and 9 months and 7 months. So it's going to be probably go faster than the way that I wrote it off here. Okay. All right. So this is Korean Atlanta mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, click the Google form link below. Have a happy Sunday. Again, today's a super Sunday for Velocity Banking, and we'll speak next time.